Welcome to Maono Prayer Center, where petitions to the courtrooms of heaven are filed.
Hello, how are you? I have a problem. And the problem is this one. I do not understand what I do. For what I want to do, I don't do. And what I don't want to do, I find myself doing. My fellow men, wherever you are, have you ever found yourself in such a predicament or in such a situation before? I do resonate with the Apostle Paul, who also confessed in Romans 15 verse 7, that I do not understand what I do. For what I do, or what I want to do, I don't do. That was Apostle Paul. And what I don't want to do, I do. Have you ever found yourself in that situation? You're doing what you are not supposed to, or you don't want to do, but you find yourself doing? Now, brothers, in this world, there are too many forces. There are too many forces which normally influence men to do what they do not want to do. And on the flip side, prevent them from doing what they are supposed to do. Today, we are going to talk about the most dreaded force of influence in men, called male ego. People talk about it. Many people talk about male ego, yet very few know what it is. Now, most women do not know what the male ego is. They do not know. That's maybe the reason why they call us men beasts, while others call us dogs. Very few women claim to know about the male ego, but then they do not know how to deal with it or to handle it when it is in operation, when it is provoked. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to harness it. Now, some men like you don't know what it is, and yet you are the landlord of this silent killer tenant called Mr. Male Ego. Our parents never talked about it, but they talked in a different way. While our pastors don't know much about it, they have gone also silent, they have steered away from it. They don't talk about it. No wonder the pastors' wives are in the forefront, complaining silently about their husbands. They don't understand them. They don't understand the men of God. Now, this force of influence is now a big monster in the society today. My name is Robinson Mokua from Maono Prayer Center. Now, what exactly is a male ego? What exactly is a male ego? Now, listen and listen carefully. The male ego, also called silent killer, is an inner person of a man whom we don't see. The invisible commander-in-chief who gives commands to the outer man on how to act and react, especially towards women in general. Yes, I said women. It normally manifests itself before women, and it is allergic to them. It is allergic to women, the male ego. Now, the male ego, my friends, which is sometimes described as the glass ego, the glass, the breakable glass. to show that, to show it how fragile it is, how fragile it is. It is also described as a glass ego. Male ego is described as a glass ego to show how delicate it is, how breakable, easily breakable it is. A male ego is a complex, self-sustaining survival mechanisms put together, which keeps the man alive. I repeat that one. A male ego is a complex, self-sustaining survival mechanisms which keeps the man alive. You take away that one, those mechanisms, there is no man. It is, normally we call it, it is a live wire, which if mishandled can be very dangerous to a marriage relationships. That's why women or wives should know what a male ego is and how it should be handled. Very, very important. Now, since this male ego targets females, wives are highly cautioned not to bruise it or to damage it, so to say. If you dare kill it, you will have killed the husband. And it will be like owning a very beautiful Mercedes-Benz at the parking lot, parked out there, but there is no engine inside. That you will have such a man in the house. A man in the house who's just like a Mercedes-Benz, beautiful one, you know, a man in a three-piece suit, but in the inside is not there. The engine is there, dead, completely kaput. So take care of your husband's male ego. This is the engine of the man. It is the mechanisms all put together which drives the man. Your husband minus the male ego is something dead. Now, on the other hand, if you strike this male ego in a positive way, you know, then the man's heart will be yours. Yes. You will take away the man's heart. It will be yours and yours alone. Yeah. And the man will go to the ends of the earth to make you happy. Why? Because you have striked or you have struck the male ego positively. Every human being has got an ego, but male ego is more pronounced in men than in women. Just like the sixth sense, I thought the other day, the sixth sense, every human being has got the sixth sense. But then the sixth sense is more pronounced in women than men. So in the same way, the male ego is so sensitive, more pronounced in men than in women. That's why we don't hear much about female ego. Now, how then did this come about, take root in men? Now, listen, the problem started way back during creation when God created man. And later on, from that man, made a woman out of him. And thereafter, God gave man authority, dominion, rulership, headship over the woman. And everything on land, in the air, in the sky, and below the seas. The man was given that authority. And I think it is because of this much authority that the man was given, he became so proud, it drove him mad. Now, the Bible confirms this headship of man to woman, woman being subordinate to man in 1 Corinthians 11 verse 3. The Bible says that man is the head of woman in all things, in all ways. man is the head of woman. So woman is subordinate to man. Now, after being given such authority, the man, after being given that authority, headship, rulership by God, I think the man internalizes, thereby becoming a wiring personality of the original man. Yeah, which made man to feel so superior and proud to the woman. I think that's where the problem started from. Yeah, because God trusted man with everything, including the woman. Now, this male ego has been culturalized by different societies over time, over generations, and passed from one generation to another. Many male-born children are told to act in a certain way or to behave in a certain way, contrary to that of female children. Now, for example, I was born and raised in a society, brothers and sisters, where I was not supposed to cry. Imagine, no matter how hard, however pain you have, you are not supposed to cry or even show emotions or weakness to the public or where women are. We were also told that no matter what, if there's a fight between you and a woman, you should subdue. You have to have victory over the woman and not vice versa. That's the kind of culture we grew up, that a woman is not supposed to fight you. A woman is not supposed to abuse you. A woman is not so many things about women. Thank God I'm now born again. I'm not in that cultural hostage or prison where I look women as second-hand and people or inferior people. Thank God for the blood of Jesus over me. Let me get a brief for the modern ladies. These ladies of these days and our mothers, our grandmothers, our mothers are different. The way they talk to their men or their husbands is different, totally different. The way our mothers used to talk or to treat our fathers is different from the way we're being treated today. Yeah, during those days, we used to have wife beating, and that used to be like a one-way kind of discipline where a husband beats up a woman or a wife, and the woman runs away or just pleads for forgiveness, even for a mistake she didn't make. But these days, you slap a woman, you get an answer immediately, there and then, which is against the internalized male ego. The commander-in-chief in us cannot take that slap for granted or lying down. Now, let me make a plea to women of these days. My dear ladies, I beseech you, men are not easy to understand. Please, men are difficult, are complex. They're not easy to understand. When you find one, a good one, for a husband, there is a problem you have already. When you go out there and find one and you say, this one now is going to be my husband, that's a problem already you have on hand. Do you know why? Because husbands, they do not come with operation manual or an instruction manual to tell you how to operate him. There is no instruction manual that you can go and sit down and then study how to treat this husband. Yeah, there isn't any. That's why, my dear sister, after honeymoon, when you went home, you soon realize that the man you were dating had certainly changed. The good, caring, and loving boyfriend you knew, who used to buy you stuff, yeah, take you to places. Any request you make once it is done, is different from the husband you have now. A boyfriend and a husband are totally different human beings with different objectives. They're not the same. So you should understand them. Men are complex. I wish there was a manual, an operation manual that you can sit down and study on how to maneuver him. They're difficult people. Do you know why a husband changes from a boyfriend immediately after the honeymoon? It's because of this male ego. The male ego in him starts giving him specific instructions, strict commands to do things a certain way, which otherwise he would do differently if there was no male ego inside him, if there were no internal instructions from the commander-in-chief telling him, don't do this, don't do this, don't listen to this. There is a terminology I want to teach you today relating to male ego. This terminology is called emotional cancer. What is emotional cancer? What is emotional cancer? We are going to look at that later on in a little while. Since men cannot cry and shed tears in the physical, they don't cry, but don't cry. Like if you have noted, if those people, when they go to a funeral, a husband and wife, two of them going to mourn a departed loved one, the wife can start crying in 2 miles away, crying tears and loudly. The man is good. It's not even making a noise. He's okay. But he's crying internally. Not that he doesn't have emotions. He is a human being. He has some emotions, but he can't show them. The culture says you cannot cry like a woman. No matter how emotional it is, they don't cry. So the man and the woman and the wife travels a long distance. By the time the woman arrives at the grave, the emotions, the tears are out. But the gentleman has been crying internally. The emotions are not expressed, they are internalized. Emotions internalized, tears internalized, all feelings internalized. That's the man for you. So since men cannot cry and they say the tears in the physical, number one. Number two, since they cannot show any emotions of pain. Number three, since men do not share problems with anybody. Men are not that type you can tell, like if you have a problem, you will never tell anybody. You don't, it can't say, won't say. Principle, can't say, won't say. It is your problem and you die with it. So since they cannot cry physically, since they cannot show any emotions or pain, and since they cannot share any pain they are having with anybody, even their doctors, they can't say that my wife beats me up, my wife does, they will not say. They cry in the inside. Everything is in the inside. It's not in the physical, it's not outside. Now, listen and listen carefully. If these emotional tears continue flowing internally, may be caused by the woman, over and over and over again, they finally become what? Toxic in nature. These emotional tears flowing internally, over and over again, they become toxic in nature. Now, if this toxic condition is not addressed by the one who's causing them in good time, then it will pull down the man's self-esteem. They will pull down the walls holding the man's self-esteem to create what I call emotional cancer. That's what, in my own words, I call it emotional cancer. The toxic condition of tears, emotions, coalescing together over time, they become toxic in nature, and they pull down the walls of the man's self-esteem to create what I call emotional cancer. Emotional cancer, my friends, cannot be detected by any doctor, cannot be diagnosed. Why is the male ego referred to as a silent killer? If this emotional cancer is mixed with any pre-existing conditions, such as blood pressure, diabetes, or any other disease, which emanates from any of the three interdependent triplet sisters organs, the kidneys, the lungs, and the heart. These organs, I call them triplet sister organs because they interdepend each other. The kidneys depend on the lungs depend on the heart, and vice versa. They're interdependent. So if this emotional cancer is mixed with any condition emanating from these three interdependent triplet sisters, the kidneys, the lungs, and the heart, then the man's life is in danger. You give him any medications, it cannot apply because there is this emotional cancer with him, which cannot be detected. The presence of emotional cancer in any pre-existing conditions, such as blood pressure, diabetes, depression, brings down the man. And that's maybe why we die faster. That's why maybe we die earlier, leaving widows behind. That's why maybe we die earlier, leaving orphans behind. Therefore, emotional cancer, the one I've told you how it is formed, plus any pre-existing conditions like blood pressure or diabetes, that's sugar, or dialysis, anything, any pre-existing condition, disease in you, in a man, is equals to a condition which cannot be diagnosed and therefore deadly. I repeat that equation again. Emotional cancer plus any pre-existing conditions like blood pressure, diabetes, is equals to a condition which cannot be diagnosed. That's why if you take a woman and a man to hospital with suffering the same condition, maybe diabetes, same amount, and blood pressure, the same amount of the disease, the woman will come out quickly and they go home. You might come out, go home in a coffin. Why? Because there is this emotional cancer in you, caused by the male ego in you, because it doesn't want to take nonsense. So it causes problems. To avoid this emotional cancer, ladies, women, please listen to me, and listen to me carefully. If you quarrel with your husband and the guy keeps quiet, maybe you have defeated him, and the guy sees now, instead of quarreling, let me keep quiet. Don't feel good that you have subdued him. Okay, you have won him, yes. You have won the case, yes. But literally what you have done, you have killed the man in the inside because he has gone quiet. And the chief commander inside him is not happy with him because he has given in to you. You have subdued him. He is now at the mercy of the silent killer, the male ego. Is going to work on him properly. So if you see him quiet, then please be worried. That should worry you. That should concern you, that all is not well. All is not going to be well. It's like you have given that man porridge or tea. Instead of putting sugar, you have put what we call cement from Earth River, from Bambuli, silent killer, male ego. Number two, now if you talk at each other, mnarushiana maneno with a high tone, the male ego does not want that kind of high tone from a woman. And if the guy keeps quiet, don't you think ever that you have won? What you have actually done, you have killed the man silently. You have subjected the man into a silent killer, slowly. Why? Because he has given in. And the commander-in-chief inside him, the male ego, the silent killer, is not happy with him. He's bleeding the inside. And soon, you're not going to have that man in the physical. You are going to bury him very soon. Yes, you will bury him very, very soon. The male ego does not want, it doesn't want that. You don't shout to a man like that. You don't. I'm not saying that we are righteous. We don't mess. We can be in the we can be the problem. Yeah, we can be in the wrong. But there's a way you should handle men. You have to understand how to handle them. Which angle do you come, and attack him instead of answering with a high negative tone? That one, we cannot take that one. Yes, you can see us keep quiet, but then in the inside, you are dying. You are killing your man at age 40. Number 3, you can abuse him like, hey, you are a god, you look what, then he keeps quiet. He doesn't tell you nothing. And then you say, nimekaweza, kachinga haka, Yes, he has gone quiet. For the reason I'm going to tell you why we choose to go quiet. He has gone quiet, but you have killed him. You have subjected him into the internal court where the chief commander is the judge. Why did you do this? Why did you do this? Men are not supposed to go quiet when they're harassed by a woman. Men are not supposed to go quiet when they're abused by a woman. They have to attack. But then now, the world in which we are living today is different from those of our forefathers. The worst thing now people do these days is to beat your husband. You slap your husband, or look for a cooking stick, a muiko, achapa naye, chingai. The man goes into the bedroom bleeding in the physical, out bleeding in the physical. Then you say, nimekaweza. Yes, physically, yes, that can heal. But internally, my friends, young lady, young woman, whatever you are, you have killed your husband. The male ego inside is bleeding. It's bruised and it's bleeding profusely. Soon and very soon, the emotional cancer is going to set up, which will pull down the walls of the self-esteem of that man. Once it is gone, it is gone. You will have a Mercedes without an engine, which cannot give you any service. If your husband keeps quiet for fear of being brukenged, brukenge, you brukenge your husband, beating him like a jar, like an animal, that brukenge animal, you know what is a mongoose, beat him. Now, if your man is gone quiet because of fear of being brukenged or being beaten like a child, or maybe because of fear of being arrested by the police, like countries like Europe, America, you beat your wife, the police will come in the next 5 minutes, and they do not even listen to know what went wrong, who is in the wrong. The man has to go out of the house immediately. So because of that, we fear of beating you up, because I might go to jail, and the jail I don't want to go. So I do what? I keep quiet, and I die in the inside instead. I choose to die in the inside slowly. That means, and a small sickness will not spare this man if it comes. If this happens for over and over again, the emotional cancer is going to form, which will pull down the walls of the self-esteem of the man. And then any disease, any small disease, any existing condition, maybe this man is suffering from blood pressure, maybe this man is suffering from sugar, that one plus plus emotional cancer, my friend, will finish the man. So be careful what you do to your man. If you subdue him, then there is still a problem. It's even a much bigger problem. So please understand our situation. Understand us. It is not our problem as men, please. That's how we were wired. That's how we were created. That's how the manufacturer created us. In the next video clip, which I don't want you to miss, you are going to learn 7 ways how the male ego manifests itself in men and what you as a wife, you are supposed to do to harness it, to handle it. When you see it manifesting in him, in your relationship, what are you supposed to do? How are you supposed to handle it? So don't miss these 7 ways how the male ego manifests itself in men. Let me make a plea. Please, women, please, wives, please, please have mercy on men. Don't kill us early. Understand us. It is not our problem. It's not our mistake that we were created the way we were created. The male ego is a silent killer in us. It is bigger than us, especially those men who are not born again, who don't have a personal relationship with Christ Jesus or with the Mecca. It is a huge thing to them. Please understand them and take them the way they are. So next time, please tune in, subscribe, so that we learn these 7 ways how the male ego manifests itself and what we can do to harness it, to control it, to manage it, to embrace it for the sake of our children, for the sake of our marriage, for the sake of our family. Subscribe, please, and get notified. May God bless you, and shalom.
Thank you so much for listening to us. We are extremely grateful. This message was brought to you courtesy of Maono Prayer Center. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Shalom.